One, two, three.
Good morning, folks. This is Mikey Zena here in beautiful St. Augustine, Florida. Beautiful day out there. Anyway, here I'm with I am Menorcas Magic Handmade Cast Nets, and you can reach us at menorcanmagic@gmail.com or Usina Mike, USINAMIKE, gmail.com, or phone number 904-217-7974. With that out of the way, today, I get different emails and phone calls about different issues that these people encounter, and they're learning. It's a learning process, learning how to do this, and they run into little issues. So I always answer the emails the best I can. If they call me, I can walk them through most of the issues. But what I want to cover today is a subject I haven't really talked about before. If you go online, I know I've mentioned this. You see if you go online, you put in handmade cast nets. Everybody makes custom handmade cast nets. Word custom. The definition of custom. There's a lot of definitions to it, but the one pertains to if it's something specially made for an individual that's different than normal. So this will be a custom handmade cast net. This net here is especially going to be specially made for an individual who he requested a larger mesh size, which is easy to do, and he wants it heavier, which there's ways of doing that. Probably the basic way is use a heavier sinker, but anyway, there's other ways of doing it. You can add a little more webbing to a net. I start with a basic 14 1/8. So what I did with this one is I've increased it to 16. That's going to give him some extra. That's going to put him probably 30 extra sinkers right there. And the mesh size, he wanted 1.5 inches. I'm against the 1.5 inches because it's to me it's too big. You talking about gill net size? You talking about issues that you're going to run into. Mullet, a big mullet is strong. They can get their nose in it. They can stretch it. So what I did, I talked him down to 1.1/8. So this is my normal mesh size is 15/32. 1 inch to, not to knot, 1 inch. This is a full mesh size. It's 1.1/8 inches. Now, so that's going to, and so what I did, the reason I added some widening to it is to make up the difference, because 1.1/8 inches mesh is going to go, it goes a lot faster than 1 inch. And instead of 12 rows to the foot, this thing's like about, 10.5 to a foot, something like that. But so that means you're going to get through faster. That means you're going to have less meshes around the bottom, which relates to less sinkers. So you have to adjust to that. So with that into consideration, so what I've done with him, and he wants a 9-foot net. That's funny because most all your people request 7, 8, or 10 foot, and all of a sudden I've had 2 requests. I got another 9-foot net I got to make when I finish this one. So, but no special arrangements on the second one. It's going to be just straight 1-inch mesh. But anyway, so that's where we're at. I think it's pretty straight. I don't know how else to put it. Now we're using, we're fortunate, I feel, and we've got molds that cover our needs. I mean, we can make sinkers with 1.1/8, right? That one mold makes 1.1/8 ounce sinkers. That's a heavy sinker compared to My molds I like to use are run 20-22 to the pound. And anyway, this gentleman here, he lives less than 100 miles from here. He lives in a little town below Salt Springs, which is south of Palaca, southwest of Palaca, Florida. You know where Palaca, Florida is. It's 28 miles south west of St. Augustine is Palaca. Little farming community, I guess, at one time. Anyway, that's where he lives. He fishes, he likes to fish in the St. John's, and he fishes in 3 or 4 foot of water, is what he fishes in. And he said he has a problem. When I first talked to him, he said he has a problem. He knows he's throwing the net over the fish, but when he pulls it in, he doesn't have much. I said, well, let me ask you one simple question. How much does your net weigh? What are you using? He's using a store-bought mono net. It's the singing issue with all of these store-bought nets. I'm talking about nets from China and different places. I ain't talking about, there's people out there know how to make panel nets, believe me. They know how to put the right amount of weight, but most of them, you buy these store-bought nets. And anyway, the net he's fishing with weighs 8 pounds. I said, well, that's your problem. 8 pounds is not, a net has to sink. You've heard me say this many times. If you're a net has to sink to catch fish. Doesn't matter much with a shrimp net. Shrimp don't run. You throw the net, they dummies, they just laying there. But mullet, when you throw that net, shadow is going to affect them, and color has no effect on them. Shadow will affect them, and the sound of that lead line when it hits the water, they're gonna move. So your net has to sink. That was his first issue. So I explained that to him. But anyway, he's happy. He can't wait to get his net to try this out. And you can see, I don't know, Phil, if you look at that, get a close up of that mesh size, it's not an awful lot bigger. But in theory, the larger the mesh, the faster the net will sink. I mean, that's no rocket scientist comment there. I mean, the larger the mesh, the faster the net will sink. The more weight, the faster the net will sink. You don't want to get it too heavy, for goodness sake. I mean, this guy, he's not, he's not real young, and he's got a bad back, and he's got, he's like me. And so with all of that said, you don't want to get it too darn heavy, but I'm going to do it what he wants. This is, like I said, this is going to be a 9-foot mullet net, and it's going to weigh 15 pounds. I can tell you, it's going to weigh, when I get through with this thing, I've got the sinkers are all ready. I've got a much larger sinker, heavier sinker that's going on here. It's probably going to take around 200 but somewhere around 240 sinkers. You can make a net lighter without a lot of trouble. Just you put the sinkers, a lighter sinker, you put them further apart. That's easy to do. Making the net heavier, there's 2 ways of doing it. There's more widenings in it, or heavier sinkers. Okay, with all of that said, the other issue is I keep getting people having issues with Flying Dutchman. I gotta tell you, I can't do it any, we have one video, Phil and I did a video a while back where we used a 1/8 diameter parachute cord is what we used. And it really he did a real slow close-up on it. And if you find that video, it really explains that Flying Dutchman to you real good. Anyway, I'll just go through this right quick. I don't, if it'll help you. What have I got here? I'll finish this row. Something don't look right. What have I got? I don't like the looks of this. Hold on just a minute. All right. What in the world have I got here? Well, every time you put a damn net in a bucket or someplace, you're running a risk of getting little issues out. Take care of that. All right, I'm going to show you, and Phil will pick this up in real slow motion. Let me tie a couple to get it on the board where we can get going. And then I'm going to really slow down and show you as slow as I possibly can and explain this thing to you. Okay, you ready, buddy?
Ready.
All right, when you get ready, you got that zeroed in, let me know. Can you see my hand?
Yep.
And the mesh board? Okay, Flying Dutchman. As far as I'm concerned, it's the English knot. Where the Flying Dutchman come in, I know this knot's been around since 1775. I know it's gone back that far. The old Spanish knots, thousands of years. Anyhow, all right, we're going to come around. See, I'm holding this thing tight. I'm going to come around this little finger up underneath the board, and I throw that loop around, and I come on the back side. The back side of this loop is around my little finger. Back side of it, I'm going to come up here and I'm going to pick up the next mesh. I'm going to run a needle through it. And you see what I'm doing? I'm bringing it down tight. You want to feel it tight against that board. If you don't hold that thing tight, you can have either two things, either a slip knot or an oversized mesh. When you feel pressure against that little finger, that's when you let it go and pull, all in one motion. You pull it tight. You come around that little finger, throw your loop around behind the loop, through the mesh, bring it down tight. As soon as you feel pressure, let it go. And you got to do this all in one smooth motion. If you don't, that's when you're going to have the oversized issues.
Yeah, do one more.
A little finger around, a loop, back on the back side, through the mesh. I'm going to come down, feel pressure on that little finger. When you learn this, you don't worry about no pressure on the little finger. It's all going to be automatic. I'm using that as just as a demonstration. Okay, I don't want to, I'm tired of beating a dead horse about this thing, about the Flying Dutchman. I don't know what else I can do. But I have videos out there covering this subject. I think I covered this pretty good about the custom. The idea of a custom net is something different than the norm. Especially I've made red, white, and blue nets for people. I made orange and blue nets for people. I made to their needs, custom made nets, made to suit what they want. That's what this is. This is a special demonstration of that because I had to alter the amount of windings in it as well as the weight. He wants a heavy net. He's going to have a heavy net. That net's going to catch fish. He ain't had no trouble catching fish in 3 or 4 foot of water. I guarantee him that. Okay. With that said, I do have I finished, and I didn't bring this up in the last video we did. I showed you, I just finished a 6 foot shrimp net, a 6 foot Dacron, braided Dacron shrimp net. It's pretty little, same color as this, chartreuse, pretty little net. It does not have a home if anybody's interested. I don't know. I think I've covered everything. Don't hesitate to email me, or call if you have questions or comments about this stuff. I'm trying to put everything out there at no cost to you. I did a video that I sold for years, and I said, well, you know what? I want to put this thing out there for people at no charge, step by step, everything to do. Did I cover everything okay, Phil? I think we've covered enough time, taken up enough of your time. Until the next time, you guys take care of yourself and don't hesitate to call. Until the next time, good day.